Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We usually like to start the show with a joke. So I have a story, which is I go to the grocery store with my eldest to buy American cheese. This is, my eldest child loves it. And so I say, we're at the deli, I say, let me have a pound of American cheese. And, then I go over, they cut the slices on the scale and whatever. And it says like 1.216 pounds. And I was about to be like, you know what, that's fine, whatever. And the person was like, they just wrapped it up anyway, like before I could even say that. And for some reason, I thought that was so funny, because it was like over 1.2 pounds. And they were just like, it's close enough. But then, and I was laughing about this and whatever. But then I looked at the packaging when I got home and it said 1 pound and they only charged me for 1 pound. So I had a completely different interpretation then, right? Because I was like, they just gave me a bunch of cheese for free. This is fantastic, right? So see, my story is about gratitude. You've got to be grateful for the little things. And that's the theme of our show tonight.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Balance, gratitude, and
Balance and
learning.
gratitude and learning. You had all three of those experiences.
Yeah, right. They're all in that story. Amazing. My name is Dr. Oscar Tarbert. I'm here with my co-teacher, Leah Schaefer. We do this
Hello,
show
everyone.
every week. We teach meditation, the heart rhythm meditation, method of heart rhythm meditation, which comes out of Sufism, the Sufism of Hazrat Inayat Khan in particular. So, this week we just noticed, right? It's the eve of the fall equinox, right? So this is an important time, right? This is the period where we're right in between the longest day, which of course is the summer equinox, and the shortest day, which is the winter equinox. And so we're like right in this balance point.
It's technically summer solstice and winter solstice. And this is called the equinox because it's equal.
Oh yes, thank you.
Equal night and
He's the
day.
wrong time. He's the wrong time, right? Solstice.
Where are you?
Solstice versus equinox. Well, what a rookie mistake! Oh my God!
Whoa!
I'm gonna get my.
Are you even a meditation teacher? I don't think so.
My astrology card has just been pulled. The thing is, I'm really not good at astrology. I don't know much about astrology, so
Neither
now.
do I.
Yeah, now that's been revealed. Oh, look, we have a friend who's come to say hi.
Oh, hooray! Artemis, Lori Harger. Oh, so happy to have you.
Elwin and Outney. Good to see you all.
We are getting cozy tonight. That was the promise. So make sure to light a candle and have your favorite cup of tea. This is our fall preparation, everyone.
Yeah,
we're sinking into the fall season.
Other places you go, they do the pumpkin spice. We can't do that.
We're going beyond the pumpkin spice for just one night.
We can create the vibe. That's what we specialize in.
The pumpkin spice will always be in our hearts, but we're going to go further tonight.
That's right. We're going to be this pumpkin spice.
We're going to become the pumpkin spice. Astrology rules. Woo!
Our friend Marcus, good to see you.
Definitely rules me.
The motion of the stars and planets. What's outside is also inside, and what's inside is also outside, right? That's the idea behind the whole thing, right? That all of these forces have some kind of influence on us, right? And we have an influence as well, right?
I hope so. I try. I definitely try. I try really hard.
We're more than just helpless leaves floating on in the water.
No, yeah, absolutely. I believe that. I do. I believe we have an influence, and it's just a constant flux. I know, for example, that the fall season was always my luckiest season, so I'm very excited. Extremely grateful that I'm finally getting into my lucky season.
It's one of these things that's it's just a constant lesson, isn't it? I mean, how much is our tendency to just want to take things for granted, and like, oh yes, that happened to us once, and so we expect it to keep on happening if it's good, right? What a practice it is to just start with a little thing and just be grateful for that, right? Um, to
Yeah.
to maybe stop taking things for granted, even just a few things, right? Even maybe just for a moment, and
Yeah.
say, "Wow, like I ate food today. That's fantastic," right? I mean, like, how different is your day if you don't eat anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of food, like the part of the reason that the fall is tied in with gratitude is because it's it's the time where like at the end of the summer the farmers would harvest everything, right? And
Right.
so it's like that time of really taking all the work that you've done over the last year and harvesting it. And like Asatar was talking about, we can really look at things in a skewed light. We can always look at things however we want to, and you can look back at the year, and the tendency for most of us is like, where are my shortcomings? Where did I not come through where I wanted to be?
Mm,
Um, that's our mind's tendency because it's more of a survival mechanism, right? And so this practice of changing our brain patterns, changing our mind can be as simple as a gratitude practice. And it is actually really life changing to establish it. It's a very simple thing, and people usually want some kind of major mystery, right? So, gratitude practices is like one of these things where it's very simple, but very effective. And so, we'll work on that a bit tonight. Not work, but we'll play with that a bit tonight.
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. That's a really great reminder that, simple techniques, simple practices can be very, very powerful. And,
Mhm.
we wanted to also emphasize the themes around, since it's like one of these kind of turning points in the year, it seems to kind of make sense to talk about balance and rhythm along with that, right? And that's very much a
Mm.
theme of what we do here in meditation, because we're always trying to make the breath rhythmic and balanced. And we notice, like, when we're at moments like this, we notice there's a rhythm to the year, right? Like, there are some times where it's much more expansive, and then there are some times where it feels like it kind of contracts, and you have like a moment of reflection, right? um,
Mm.
and we can't always be charging forward, right? We have to kind of consolidate as well, right? And so there's that rhythm. We don't want to go against the rhythms of life and of nature. We want to feel those rhythms in ourselves,
Mm.
and be in tune with that, right? That's part of being in harmony. Um, so
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing too with the balance and rhythm is that the breath, which we'll do right now, basically, is one of the simplest ways to come into harmony, balance, and rhythm with ourselves. And it is one of these things that it's balance is something that's constantly working toward equilibrium. It's never a set thing. There's just like it's always happening. Just like the homeostasis of our body is just constantly working to keep that equilibrium within our health systems. And so by breathing deep, full, rhythmic breath, we're essentially taking a very fundamental, basic part of ourselves and creating balance amidst whatever's happening in our lives. And so we'll start with that tonight. But again, it's one of those things. It's so so simple, but it's so effective.
mm,
Um, yeah. So shall we start? Should we jump in?
let's do it.
If you're lucky enough to be somewhere where it's actually cold, then grab your blanket. Um, and find yourself in your posture. So take your time. I really want to emphasize kind of the cozy aspect of this. Sometimes Asatar and I come into this class kind of fully blazing, right? And I love that energy too. But sometimes it's nice to remember that our meditation practices can feel more like um, self care and can feel more like something to wrap around you, something to give to you. And so take a moment and find a really comfortable spot to sit, something that really gives you that sense of home, that sense of being held in some way. And then once you're there, maybe doing some stretches that you might need. So maybe rolling those shoulders a few times or letting your head fall side to side for a neck stretch. Or anything else that you need. And then close your eyes as you're ready, or soften your gaze. And take a moment to start to feel your own body. So, usually we're stuck in our head, we're in our mind. And so, even just bringing your consciousness, your conscious awareness to your body right now, that is a moment of taking a step toward dropping in, really dropping back into the center of yourself, grounding into your constant home, this abode where spirit, your spirit, loves to live. And then taking a moment to start to deepen your breathing. So, I'm going to get more detailed with that in a bit, but just starting to deepen your breathing. So, maybe your breath is really natural, open, organic right now, but maybe you've had a stressful day or a week or a year, right? And so it might not be so accessible. And you want to just bring your awareness into yourself and start to let your breath open almost naturally, organically, as if it wasn't some work you were doing, but it was rather something you were dropping into, something you were surrendering toward, as if it was the safest place in the world. And now that you're settling into that safe, cozy place, you complement it with your breathing. You complement it by deepening your breath. And looking inside, what's all happening today? What's it feel like to start to deepen my breathing? All right, and then to begin the next step, so continue to cultivate this full breath. I'm going to go even more in detail in a little bit, but to just continue to naturally, organically cultivate this deep, full breath. And then look into your heart. So, when I say look into your heart, what I mean is focus on your heart. Bring your attention and your awareness onto your actual physical heart. And our physical heart, our energetic, and our emotional heart are all the same thing. And so we want to look into that center of our body, not just this idea that, wow, I have a heart, like it's an abstract thought, but you actually have one, right? And so find it. Maybe even starting to feel that connection between your full breath and your heart as you bring your awareness to the two. And as you look in your heart, right away, find something in your heart that you feel grateful for in this moment. And notice I asked to look into your heart, not your mind. Your mind will receive the message from your heart of what it's grateful for. But you want to look actually into your heart, make it real, not some abstract like idea of, oh, I could perhaps be grateful for something. No, it's in your heart already. There's so much there. So look right into your heart and ask your heart, or look for within your heart, that feeling of gratitude of what you are grateful for right now in this moment. It might be something that you feel right away. Maybe you know right away. Maybe it's something you have to listen for longer. And so it's okay if you need to listen longer. Just keep breathing, feeling that deep, full breath as you look into your heart, and know that there's nothing too big or too small to be grateful for. There's nothing too intimate or too distant to be grateful for. There's no limit. And once you have a sense of that which you're really just cherishing in this moment, this feeling of like, wow, that's part of my life, that's part of existence, that's something I'm connected with. Breathe into that feeling. So breathe into the feeling of gratitude in your heart and allow it to get bigger with every breath that you take. I'm so, so, so grateful that Asatar asked me to do this show. I can feel the emotion in my heart. I can feel the emotion of all the beauty that Asatar and I have cultivated through meeting every Tuesday night like this for the last however long it's been, a year or so. And so it's like as I feel the emotion of that gratitude in my heart, the emotion kind of swells in my heart, and then I just breathe right into it. So it's like I'm sharing that emotion of gratitude with more and more of my heart and more of myself with every breath that I'm taking. That's what I mean when I say make it real. And even if you haven't found it yet, take some more time. Find something that's real inside your heart that you're grateful for. Good. And then try to hold that thread that you might have caught. And again, there's nothing too small. Could be I'm grateful for my favorite show or my favorite book, whatever it might be. Nothing too small at all. I'm really feeling as we continue holding on to that thread that you've caught of that one thing living in your heart right now. That's a part of your life. That's a part of your heart right now. Hold on to that as we continue. And so we've already started to cultivate this deep breath, and now we're going to try to make that breath balanced. So begin to play with, let's first try to find our heartbeat. So take a moment, maybe placing hands to heart center, And just take a moment and really try to feel your heartbeat. My goodness, like, wow, it works so hard. It's just always working on my behalf, right? And really try to feel your heartbeat. Really try to feel it. And it's okay if you can't feel it. Sometimes it takes time. But maybe placing your hands over your heart, bowing your head slightly, really looking for it. If you feel like you can't find it, if it's not quite there, know that you have an amazing heart and it's definitely beating a perfect echo and a perfect rhythm. And you can start to find instead your pulse. So, one way to find your pulse is to place fingertips onto wrist and place that hand on the heart. So, hand on heart, fingertips around the wrist. Another place to look is the throat. So finding a pulse point on your throat. Another place to look. And that's just if you can't feel the actual heartbeat. It takes a lot of time sometimes to actually find that heartbeat. So either the heartbeat itself or the echo of the heart, the pulse. And then start to play with holding your focus on the heartbeat or pulse while you breathe fully. And so even start to cultivate a bigger breath than before. And it's a tricky thing because it's going to be still subtle. There's inaudible, and subtle, but full at the same time. And you want to play with, now that we've warmed up our breath a bit, you want to play with making your breath even bigger than you ever thought that it could be. Like really letting your diaphragm open. So your diaphragm is a muscle that's shaped like an umbrella along the bottom of your rib cage. And we usually only use a little part of that muscle. And so think about trying to use that whole diaphragm muscle as you breathe. Really letting your abdomen open. You can expand your belly out as much as you like. But letting more breath in. And the next time that you exhale, a lot of the exhalation is natural. But then at the end of the exhalation, that's where this kind of like willpower comes in. And you think, I'm going to finish my exhale. I'm going to give my light or my love out to the furthest reach that I can. And so you, at the end of your exhalation, you finish the breath. There's totally going to be more air than you think. And you want to give, I have actually more light, more love to give. And you just say, I'm going to send it out as far as I can. And you squeeze the abdomen in toward the spine at the bottom of your exhalation when you think, oh, my breath is done now. It's probably not. And so you squeeze the abdomen in toward your spine and you reach your presence, your atmosphere, your love and your light further to the edges of your own consciousness, of your own energy body. And so that's a lot already. So you're breathing full breath, but then keeping in tune with your heartbeat while you breathe full breath. So it's kind of like I'm finally experiencing myself more wholly, more holistically. There's no part of myself I'm excluding in a way. So my breath is moving through my whole body, but the whole time I'm tuned in with every heartbeat. And now remember that moment of gratitude at the beginning and let that energy ride on the breath, feeling it move through even more parts of your body. I promise you that you're not doing anything wrong if you're worried about doing something wrong. Remember that coziness of this meditation and drop deeper into your body. Just let yourself surrender. It's a tricky thing. It's like we're doing all this stuff, but at the same time, you're just coming more and more into yourself, more and more into your knowing that you are an amazing abode, an amazing home that light and love and gratitude get to live in. And let yourself drop further and further into that space of your body, into that space of yourself. And while you do this, your full breathing may have come a little bit more natural right now. So re-amplify your connection to your heart. Feel more of your heart as you're breathing. So especially if you're new to this practice, this is probably plenty. But I'm going to just offer this next part of the practice, which is that we're gonna attempt to start to breathe in rhythm with our own heartbeat. So our heartbeat becomes our metronome. And it's kind of a musical experience. And I want to invite you, if this is a new practice to you, have to start with numbers, or you can just get a sense of that rhythm. So like if you do a count of 8, for example, it's going to probably be a pretty natural feeling of a rhythm of a start and stop. So maybe tonight you're like, I don't want to do the numbers, I don't want to use a number, but you can use that sense of breathing in a perfect rhythm by that musical sense, allowing your heart to be the metronome. If you would like to play with the numbers, then you're going to have to play a bit and find out, and it might be different tonight than you're used to. So find out what feels best to you for breathing in with your heartbeats. So just taking a deep breath in and counting how many heartbeats. We'll do that for 2 breaths. And now we're going to switch our focus to the exhalation. So counting only the heartbeats on the exhalation. So see how many heartbeats are you exhaling for. And again, we're cultivating that full breath. So not the typical inhale and exhale, but the full inhale and exhale. So 2 cycles of breath counting the heartbeats on the exhalation. And then what you'll do is that you'll pick a number that's in between those two. Typically, they're going to be different, the inhale heartbeats versus the exhale heartbeats. And you'll pick a number in between the two. And you'll say, "This is my rhythm for tonight." And then start to connect in with your heartbeat and in your heart and your full breathing. And then play with perhaps breathing in for the number you've chosen and then breathing out for the number you've chosen. The same number in as out, making it a perfect equinox, making it a perfect balance and harmony within your being. All right. And so that was just the beginning, friends, but that is the start of creating a perfect equilibrium using your breath. Feel free to start to move your body and open your eyes. And just know that if this was your first time really working with this, what you would do is that you would pick a word or a phrase for yourself and maybe finding that word or phrase for your intention for your fall season for the next 3 months. Really find what is that word or phrase that I really want to use. And so instead of the numbers, you would move into a word that brings you back into your sense of gratitude and into your sense of self. So as you're ready, moving your body and opening up your eyes. Mm.
Mm, lovely. And you look very cozy with your blanket there also.
Thank you. It's a jacket.
Oh, we
But thank you.
we got some
Um,
comments during this.
mm.
I like this. We'll lurk and join in. All right. Well,
Thank
good
you so much.
with you.
Welcome.
Good to have you here.
Welcome, welcome.
Uh, and from AQ here, Pierce said that the most important thing you can do for other people is to communicate life to them. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
yeah, right. What is the nature of this thing called life, right?
Yeah.
How is it that going within and um, learning about ourselves, reflecting on ourselves, working on the breath, how can that teach us about life, right? I mean,
Mm.
um,
Yes.
we're studying that part of life that is the easiest for us to study, right? That part of life that we have the most control over, right? That's ourselves.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
so
beautiful.
and we learn about the nature of things, right? We learn by studying our own energy. We learn about the nature of energy, um, we learn
Mm,
we learn how energy flows. We learn that there's different types of energy, right? We learn that how it changes, how it transforms, um, and then we can have an influence in that, right? We can learn how to change our own energy, um, and we learn about the interconnections, right? We learn about, okay, there's energy coming towards us, right, and coming into our being, um, and also we radiate energy, right? We put energy out into the world, and um, like, this is a big part of the teaching. When we talk about balance, when we talk about rhythm, um, we're talking about energy, right? We're talking about the ways that flows. And um, I just think of that whenever we have these moments like this, these kind of seasonal markers or certain times of the year, right? It makes me think of how, in so many ways, we're so off kilter with regard to the rhythms of nature, right? Like our
Right.
calendar, our day. I mean, like, right, our calendar has nothing to do with the rhythms of the year, right? Like, when do we start the year? I mean, January 1st, right? Like, um, there's no there's no kind of pattern to that, right? The ancients would start the year, on some at some significant moment, right? Like, you know, solstice or equinox or whatever, right? Like, so, and the same thing for our day, right? We live by the clock. We don't live according to the rhythms of nature, right? We ignore that as much as we can. It seems like, right? Um, but I think we can learn a lot about it by going within, right?
Mm.
We can discover our own energy and our own rhythm, and
Mm.
and that helps us to stabilize it, right? Because a lot of times a lot of our problems is because we're off rhythm in some way, you know. Um, so I mean, these are the things I think about, like when we have this one of these turning of the wheel kind of moments, like we're having that right
Mm.
now, right? Um,
Mm. No, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's also so the fall season is really associated too with going back to school, right? And so there's like this aspect of like learning and seeking and reflecting. And and it is so true. It's like everything that we learn obviously has to come in through us. But then also there's so much that is to be discovered within as well. And so, for this fall season, you can kind of think to yourself like, what do I want to learn about myself? What do I want to discover about myself?
mm,
Or what kind of teachings are inside of me right now that I want to reflect on, right? Or lessons I've had this year that I want to reflect on more deeply. Or maybe it's something outside yourself that you're like, I know I feel a kinship with this and I know I want to cultivate it within myself. And so the going and like reaching toward whatever it is that you want to cultivate. And so, but to bring again in yourself, because like this self-learning and this ability to have self-knowledge is one of the most amazing things that we can do as our human species.
so true. And we better get on it, right? I mean, because, well, otherwise we're going to probably destroy ourselves, right? I mean, like, the
Oh my
self-knowledge thing is not just not just a nice hobby that we should do, right? I mean, it's that, right? It's that too. Uh, but we need to get together as a human species, right? And that means knowing ourselves and being able to
Mm,
work with others, right? So where does that harmony come in, right? That ability to
beautiful.
bring together these different energies, right? To be able to live together, um,
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty hard to harmonize all of our different energies if we continue to allow a tiny segment of the population to own and control most of the world's wealth and resources. But, I mean,
Yeah.
that's me, right? I think we're going to need a lot more equality. We're going to need a lot more
Right.
of caring for each other, a lot more of,
Mhm.
like, everyone has enough, everyone has a decent life, right? That,
Mhm.
when you concentrate wealth in a few hands, you're making that impossible for lots of people.
Yep.
I mean, this is my background as a professor of economics
Mhm.
talking, right? But I think it's important, right?
Mhm.
Because, wealth is, in a certain sense, energy as well, right? So,
Yeah.
we want to study all of this, right? There's no form of energy that isn't worth studying, like inside of ourselves and outside as well, right? So,
Yeah.
and not just the natural world, like the world that we've created. We should study the energetic flows in that as well, um,
Mhm.
and try to intervene, try to make a difference.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does always start with ourselves. So like any kind of changes that we want to see in the world, it starts with ourselves, and I find in particular myself and many of the people that I know, um, we are not taught to have like a strong enough sense of self to feel like we can make a difference or to feel
mm,
like me knowing myself better and like loving myself more, because self-love is like a lot of times just considered like hodgepodge or whatever, but it's not. It's actually really fucking hard. Sorry, but it's just really hard. Um, and part of the reason it's so hard is because I think we're very much conditioned to not have a strong sense of self and to have quite the opposite, and to
Yeah,
not love ourselves and to not think we're capable of creating things. So again, that change, whatever the changes that you want in your life, it's always going to start from within. It's always going to start from you bringing it in. It's
there's
going to
so
start
many,
with you.
I agree 100%. I mean, there's so many messages
Mhm.
in our culture, in our society, that essentially say
Mhm.
what you think and believe and feel and value doesn't really matter, right? Like what matters is
Mhm.
kind of that you conform and obey, right? I mean, that's,
Mhm.
we have all of these different areas where it's like, oh, this is the norm, and then this is outside of it, right? And,
Mhm.
this is not, these are all things that like attack your individuality, Um, and it, I don't think I'm saying like be weird for the sake of being weird, right? But it's like we want to be aware of who we are. We want to be our true
Mhm.
selves.
Yeah.
We can't do that if all we're encouraged to do is be like everybody else, or conform to a set of
Mhm.
artificial rules that has nothing to do with who we are, right? um,
Yep.
and this is where meditation can really come in, right? Because you're
Mhm.
studying yourself, who you are, right? On a fundamental level. What is the nature of my
Mhm.
mind? What is the nature of my heart, my emotions, my values, my principles, like deeply held convictions, what I know about myself and what I know about life? That is what you're delving into in meditation. So
Mm.
I don't know. Now that I've worked everyone up, right now we should we should
We were
meditate.
so cozy. Uh,
We were so good. Yes.
you better bring us back to the cozy zone. I promised people that we'd be cozy.
Well,
No, but I think it's a really valid thing. Is like, if you're not sure what to study this fall season, study yourself, because like the things that the world does need to change in a lot of ways, but it's only going to start with ourselves.
yeah,
So,
and also whatever it is you're studying, along the way you're studying yourself, right? So you're learning, whatever it is you're learning, whatever process you're going through, right? You're learning about yourself. Um, so we want to kind of keep that in mind, right? And a lot of the
mm,
obstacles that we face are also self-created, right? So that's another reason to meditate. Perhaps we're always thinking of those reasons, trying to motivate.
we're just trying to convince everyone to meditate. All right.
Isn't that what we do as
That's
teachers?
what we do. That's what we do. All right.
Well, while you're being
Mm.
cozy and everything, try to sit up straight if you can,
Uh,
and start to want to allow your body to be upright and still. And within that container, within having your body in line and your spine upright, your head aligned, everything in its proper alignment, proper order. Try and relax within that container so that you're not holding any unnecessary tension in your body. And now tune into your breath, and we want to really work on the breath. We want to make the breath deep, so we'll start with that. And that means breathing in and allowing your belly to expand, allowing your abdominal muscles to just open and relax and expand. And even put a little bit of force into that expansion. So you're even just really filling your belly there, right? Really making it big. We keep that belly so contained, so tight. We're always trying to suck it in, right? On the inhalation, now is the time to just really let it blow up like a big balloon. The abdominal muscles will exert force on the diaphragm, pulling it down. And this is what draws the air into your lungs, part of it anyway. Deep breathing. Now we'd also, and then as you exhale, of course, you're making your belly smaller, contracting your belly, moving your belly button toward your spine. And then we'd like to make the breath slow. So on the inhalation, just extend that inhalation, go further than you would normally go. Just really blow up that belly. And on the exhalation, squeeze your abdominal muscles, squeeze out the breath, so that your breath cycle, inhalation and exhalation, take a longer time than they normally do. By doing this, you're slowing down the rhythm of your breath and giving yourself time to understand, to appreciate, to experience the energy of the inhalation and the energy of the exhalation as it moves through your body, mind, heart, and soul. And this is as much of the practice as you get. This is very good. Practice this. If you practice this, you're doing a very good practice. But if you'd like to go further, we would also like to make the breath rhythmic and heart-centered. And we can do this through the same action, which is tuning into the heartbeat and counting the beats on the inhalation and on the exhalation and making them the same. This focuses our attention on the heartbeat and on the heart as the center of feeling, the center of all emotion, as that faculty which gives and receives love. If you can feel your heartbeat, that's great. If not, if you're struggling to feel it, you might place your hand on your heart or lightly press your breastbone with your fingertips. If that doesn't work, maybe you just imagine what you think your heartbeat might be. It's probably pretty close. And make that count the same as you breathe in as it is as you breathe out. You've been coming to class and working on this and practicing on your own. I'd like you to get to 8 beats in, 8 beats out. You're just trying it out for the first time. Maybe start with something small, a lower count than that. Deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered breathing. And the last aspect of it is to make it full. And that means to complete the inhalation. Once you've filled up your belly, then you expand your ribs and breathe all the way up into your chest, all the way to the very top of your chest, to your collarbone. You feel all of that expansion happening, taking a much, much bigger breath than you normally take. But that breath is also very slow. very subtle, very refined. And as you breathe out, you're reversing that. So your chest contracts, gets smaller, your ribs, intercostal muscles, and you contract your abdominal muscles, drawing your belly button towards your spine. Deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered, and full. This is a lot to master. I know I'm asking you to do much more than most meditation teachers ask for. So it's a challenge. I recognize that. You do whatever part you can do, but I want you to know this is the full breathing practice that we look for. And once you have that down, we add more to it. This is the basic foundation of heart rhythm meditation. Now, as you practice this, as you keep on trying to make the breath deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered, and full, notice that there's an energy that goes along with the inhalation. There's an energy that goes along with the exhalation. Notice that these energies are different. As you inhale, you're receiving energy. And since you're doing this very slowly, much more slowly than your normal breath, you have time to savor, to appreciate, to fully experience that energy which you are taking in. That is the essence of life. We don't live long when we stop breathing. Breath is life. And your breath has both a physical component, that's the air that flows into your lungs and out of your lungs, but it also has a spirit. It has an energy. The way that we breathe shapes and affects this spirit dimension of the breath. That is the secret of the many different breathing practices in the yogic tradition. These are called pranayama. Breath control, breath discipline, energy control. For prana means both breath and energy. Breathe in and feel all that you receive. Feel it in your heart. Imagine that that stream of energy that comes into you as you breathe in flows right into your heart. Your heart is drawing in all of this energy right into the center of your being. And as you breathe out, your heart is expressing, your heart is giving, your heart is radiating. Now you may feel this energy in a very different form. There's so many different ways to experience energy. You might feel like you want to move, you want to move your body. You want to express that energy physically. Maybe you feel it mentally. Maybe you feel it in the working of your thoughts. Maybe your thoughts move faster. Maybe they're clearer. Or maybe they're more inspired. your mental faculties become heightened in some way. It might feel rather different. It might not feel all that positive, right? Just try to hold aside the notions of positive and negative for now. Just immerse yourself in the experience. What is this flow of the breath doing to your heart, to your emotions, your emotional body? Breathe in and allow your heart to be energized. Breathe out and allow your heart to speak, to express yourself, to radiate your unique energy out into the world. For me, that feeling of gratitude is just so connected to that feeling of the breath just slowly filling my lungs. The breath just filling my being, and that sense of fullness, that sense of wholeness. It feels to me like pure gratitude. Like I don't even know what I'm grateful for, really. It's just that amazing feeling, that feeling of just being full of energy. And then as you express that energy, right, of course, we think about expressing energy. We think about it in the forms that we can see and feel, right? In meditation, we're being still. We're not getting up and dancing. We're not speaking. And there's so many ways of expressing energy, right? We're just expressing the energy in its pure form. We're just breathing. And there's an opportunity to learn from that as well. What is your energy as you breathe out, as you radiate, as you fill the space around you with your own unique vibrational and energetic signature? Hazrat Inayat Khan talks so much about the nature of energy being vibrational. I think he would be very happy that we have a word that's entered our cultural lexicon, the word vibe, right? Which I think really describes something, right? Because it's a mood, it's an energy, it's it's something you feel in the space, but yet you also feel it within. That's a very good word, right? That's describing energy in a certain way. So notice the vibe that you are creating within yourself and in the space around you. Yet we are creating together, meditating together in this virtual space that we are inhabiting. And as you tune into this vibe deep in your heart, you might notice that it goes on forever. That it has always been, and on some level will always be. That this vibe, your energy, is infinite and perfect. You just look for that experience. You consider these thoughts. Maybe the experience opens and becomes shatteringly real to you. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just me talking. But whatever the case may be, right, it's all part of the experience. And that experience is right for you, whatever it is. We try to adopt the attitude that everything that happens to us, all the thoughts, the feelings, the energies that we experience in meditation, have a meaning and a purpose and are right for us. I encourage you to take that attitude as you practice. And as you're ready, then you end your meditation and open your eyes. Thank you for sharing the vibe with me.
Thank you so much, Asatar.
Oh, we've got some messages here. Let's see.
Oh, great.
From our friend Doug. Good to see you again. I'm currently at work. I'll meditate later, but I wanted to show my support for working the channel. So much.
Yay,
I
Doug.
appreciate that.
So happy you came. Yeah.
And then
good luck with your work.
yes, good luck with that. Both y'all's energy and focus on this equinox are way beyond the beyond. Excellent.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, AQ. We went beyond this pumpkin spice latte tonight. That was our goal. And I would say that we accomplished it.
Excellent PR.
Thank you, AQ.
Presentations, that is.
Thank you so much.
And then we have another one from Omar. You got the vibe.
You got the vibe. Yes, Omar. We have some heavy hitters. Whoa.
We do,
Anybody
yeah.
meditating with us live? You got some heavy hitter meditators meditating with you, let me tell you.
And it's great.
Whoa. You want to catch some vibes? They're coming from all the corners
from
of the
all over the
nation.
world. Right.
Yeah.
That's why we do the show live, right? Because it's a real and even though we occasionally screw up, like I did about the equinox solstices. Oh my God, rookie mistake. Even though we occasionally screw up, in the live format is unforgiving toward that.
So funny. Oh my gosh.
It's part of the show. So we'll be here next week. If you want to support the show, we've got a link to the Patreon. You should follow Leah on Instagram. She does some great stuff on there. And of course, you should take a yoga class with her if you're in Tucson. And we will be back next week. If you have any ideas for the show, we'd love to hear them.
And we're so grateful. And everyone do gratitude practices tonight and for the rest of the season, if you can.
Amen to that.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.